Hey guys, welcome back.
Hi.
Hey, as you can tell, we're sitting in our front yard in the van, in the Ford Transit Connect van, and we are back from our trip to Superior National Forest. So we thought we'd make a quick video to talk about how the van and the Ford Transit Connect specifically set up worked for us on this trip, because this is really the first trip that we've taken as a group or a family. And as those of you who watch our videos in the past know, that we're trying to travel as lightly as possible and do it in a small vehicle or a small rig, which is basically car camping. So you saw the shelf I made for the dog to make a bed up there for him and those things. So after the trip, we've definitely got some opinions on how the setup worked, and we have some solutions for those problems coming up on basically on our next few videos, showing how we're going to overcome some of the problems that we encountered. So what did you think of the setup? How did it work out for you?
There was some pros and some cons. Definitely a little tight in space. Sleeping was totally comfortable.
Yeah,
I
it was
thought I
comfortable
got
bed.
some great sleep.
I
But
did
there
too.
were some areas that need improvement.
So what are those areas? What are the three biggest issues that created problems for us?
Well, being able to access our gear when we're camping, trying to pull out the food for dinner or clothing or whatever that happened to be was kind of difficult, because it was all crammed under the bed. And it was in containers and it was nice and neat and all that stuff, but it still is a very tight area.
I agree.
So getting that stuff out wasn't as easy as it could be.
Yeah, and one of the things, like that bed, I've actually, since we got back from the trip, I've lowered this bed 6 inches from where it was. It used to be right about here as it was laid out for two people. So once the bed was laid out, and of course Ruger's bed was up in there, I have to pick him up and set him on our bed so that he could climb up onto his bed. And I'm getting older and he's not getting any smaller, so that was kind of a pain. And it's like every time we stop for a bathroom stop or something like that, when we have the bed laid out in the middle of the night, if we hop out and get him out to use the restroom or something, that was an issue. So that was
Absolutely.
a huge thing.
And I'm not able to lift him in and out because, well, I'm just me. I'm just a girl.
And I can barely do it, really, to be
Yeah,
honest.
and it's not good for him and not good for the dog, and
So that's definitely one major issue.
that was one major issue.
And accessing the gear, as you mentioned, like we had her bag of clothes back up underneath the bed, so when the bed is laid out, there's no accessing that
Right.
that container, right? So we have to push the bed in, pull that container out, and then pull the bed back out. Huge pain.
Well, and because we
doable,
were
but-
stuck in the rain, so then we were stuck in here and couldn't get to anything without it being a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, the harder things are, as I'm sure if anybody out there watching this, if you guys have encountered this or had those situations, the harder it is to do any one little task, it makes you not want to do it, right?
Right.
So the whole point is to come up with a solution to make that easier. So hauling the dog up and down, so I've resolved that by lowering the bed. That should make a huge difference.
Absolutely.
But by doing that, we've lost all of that storage space that I worked so hard to get underneath the bed to begin with, right? So it's actually slightly lower than the very first video I made of putting this bed in the van. I've dropped it down even a little bit farther because we have a solution for the gear storage. And our thought is we can cope with this space for sleeping, which is what it's for.
Yeah, it's
right?
very comfortable for sleeping.
So the beds are comfortable, we can cope with it, but we have all this gear that we need to put somewhere else. So what we've done, and I'll cut away to the video showing a trailer that we bought yesterday, right? We drove a couple hundred miles to the nearest northern tool and bought the smallest trailer that they have, because the Ford Transit Connect is not necessarily built for towing, and Ford actually doesn't recommend it. But I have what I think is a solution. I'm going to build that little trailer out into a car camping slash what do they call those things? Overlander style
Utility.
utility camping trailer. I'm just going to build a plywood box, and that I'll show that in my future videos as we get into the details of building it out. But that's going to be able to get everything out of the van as far as baggage, clothes, food, cooking items, kitchen stuff, right?
Right.
And put it in that trailer where it's easily accessible.
Well, it
And
gives us
that
a
opens
chance
up
to,
all this area.
and it gives us a chance to bring a few more things along. We can build,
True.
you know, bring more comfortable chairs for camping, and a screened-in tent so that Rugi has a place to be, so he's not being eaten alive.
Yeah, that was one of the big issues on the trip, right? Was trying to get away from the bugs. Even though we could douse with spray and sit by the fire, it worked fairly well for us. But Ruger does not like being by the fire. He's afraid of it. And the older he gets, the more afraid of it he actually becomes.
Yeah,
so he needs a place to be. He sat in the van, but it was hot. So we opened the doors, and just he's swamped with mosquitoes and black flies and that sort of thing. So
Sure.
the solution is some sort of a bug screen tent. We're probably going to get the, I don't know what we're going to get. We'll come up with something.
Figure
But we had nowhere to carry that
Right.
with all of the other things that we had in here. So that's what we're hoping, is that this trailer is going to be able to be the solution for that. So to kind of make this not a real long video, if you're trying to car camp, or maybe you have a Ford Transit Connect and you're trying to camp with more than one person, this may be a solution that will work for you as well. We're gonna take the dive and do all the testing and see if it's even doable. And that's what these next series of videos is going to be about. So it should be pretty fun. I hope you guys ride along with us. My wife has been telling me that my videos are boring because I was a flight instructor for 15 years, a military contracted flight instructor, and apparently that's what kind of videos I make, and it's not fun to watch. So is that true?
It is true. He goes into instructor mode, and you know, I glaze over. I'm sure a lot of people do too.
Anyway, so I'm going to try to do a little bit of different format and some video things, some changes. What I really want from you guys is for you to put in the comments, do you like to watch me build things? Those are some of the best videos, best performing videos I have, is when I'm building something. But do you want to see all the detail? Do you just want to see me build the thing? Do you like time-lapse with music? You don't like that sort of thing? Let me know how you guys would prefer to see videos of me putting stuff together. And then hopefully we get that thing slapped together and hooked up, and here in a couple months we're taking the big trip out to Arizona again. So we need to have it done by then so that we can put it to the test. Last year we were going to go see the Grand Canyon and camp up there from Arizona, but we didn't do it because we didn't really have, the van was not really set up for us to be able to do it comfortably. Yeah. We didn't have the bed for Ruger. I mean, just a lot of different things. So
yeah,
hopefully we're going to make enough changes to where we can make that happen, and as well as our future car camping adventures that we hope to be doing here real soon.
Right. Sounds good.
You tell them and you tell them and you tell them, they don't listen. Anyway, guys, we're going to cut it off here. If you're not already, subscribe to the channel and follow along on this adventure. Hopefully you'll enjoy the videos and find out whether or not this is going to be a viable solution for people that want to car camp and take a bunch of stuff. We don't take a lot of stuff, but I mean, we got to have room to maneuver and operate. So this should be fun. We'll see you guys on the next one.